5 to shoot. Zaglinski throws it out of bounds.
That's a tough play right there, particularly for Mitchell to read Zaglinski. As he penetrated, Zaglinski looked like he was going to shoot it, threw it behind Mitchell.
Now the Seminoles look to Leonard Hamilton, and he wants a timeout to talk about the last 30 seconds. This would be the most improbable of comebacks for Florida State. Without Bernard James, after you have seen your leading rebounder and the toughest guy on your ball club ejected from the game at Virginia, when Virginia's in the middle of a hot streak, like you said earlier, looked like it was over.
Yeah, and you know, they look like a deflated team, but they regrouped. And I tell you what, you give them credit. Now you're talking about coming out of the timeout. So whom does this ball go? Well, Michael Snare on that one. And once again, Michael Snare on that one. So what would you think is going to happen on this one?
Let's see. Could it be Michael Snare?
The only problem with that is I don't think that Michael Snare's last-second heroics have been lost on Virginia. I wouldn't be surprised if they put 2 guys on him.
You've also got to be thinking about Miller, because he has had such a great second half. But that's all up to Leonard Hamilton trying to design a play. So do you go with the guy who's won 2 games with a last-second shot, or do you go with a hot hand, or do you go to somebody else if they've got a decent shot at it?
Well, just remember, both of those last-second shots by Michael Snare came from at least some element of penetration. The one against Duke, Louts didn't get into the paint, but penetrated enough to collapse the defense. And certainly the one against Virginia Tech, there was penetration and a kick. Florida State will hold this down to the last possible moment before taking a shot. They want the last shot.
They're on their feet in Charlottesville. There's about a half-second difference between the game clock and shot clock, but they can take it down very, very low. This is Dulkes.
Look for something inside out.
Here's Miller, 7 to shoot. Miller.
Oh,
got it!
Man.
Holy cow, are you kidding?
I believe there's some time left on the clock, so the officials kind of told Florida State, okay, hold the celebration, fellas. But wow, again, you talk about showing some character.
Miller has been so tough in the second half. 15 points, 18 overall. Now watch the clock.
Ball goes through at about 0.8 of a second.
Yep.
And you notice Michael Snare, when he went to the other side into the corner, a lot of attention was paid to him.
Miller came out to the top of the circle to get the ball and worked for his shot. Young man out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Take a look, Miller. Just a one-on-one play. You couldn't play any better defense than Zaglinski played on him.
Wow. And now Virginia with only 0.8 of a second left. I think that's what they're going to put back on the clock. Here is going to be the problem for Virginia is you're going to have to throw it the length of the court and catch it for the hope to have any kind of a decent shot.
Well, you got one chance. There's got to be a catch and shoot.
Boy, this crowd is just totally stunned, silent.
I mean, when their hands are on their heads right now, you know they're about as shocked as we are. As I said, they thought they had this team beaten. I thought Florida State was beaten.
They were as close to having a game wrapped up as you possibly could and not win it.
Well, never underestimate the power of teamwork and the power of character. And as you said, a lot of the times the character comes from the coach. Not that Virginia lacked any on this, but how about Florida State affirmatively? Leonard Hamilton recognizing that Bernard James deserved to be ejected, didn't contest it, brought his team together, and suddenly they've got a chance to win this game, one that they should have been counted out of.
All right, here you go. You got one chance. And another timeout as both coaches are seeing what the other is up to and changing either their offense or defensive set once they get a glimpse of that.
Yeah, that was Virginia's timeout, so Tony Bennett trying to read the Florida State deployment. Again, we talked about Michael Snare and his last second heroics. Louts on the penetration or attempt at it. Snare wide open on that wing, and against Virginia Tech, same thing. Penetration, the kick. This time, as we know, everybody thought that Michael Snare was going to get a touch. And tonight, watch him go to the corner right there to your left of your screen. And Miller, I guess we could say, instead of Snare time, it was
Go ahead.
Miller time.
Go ahead, yes.
Or I should say Miller's time.
I'm very proud of you. What a tough, tough shot. Now it's got to be catch and shoot. And Gibson guarding the inbounder, Jontel Evans. Got about a foot on him. He can run the baseline. Zaglinski will launch. FSU ended the game on a 16-2 run after Bernard James was ejected from the ball game. It was remarkable for the Seminoles, who had lost 2 straight games, to have that sequence of events happen to them and come back and win this game.
And I'll tell you right now, once again, it came down to character, it came down to teamwork, and a lot of courage by Florida State.
Unbelievable from Charlottesville. 63-60, the final score. The Seminoles win it. For Janine Edwards and Len Elmore, this is Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching. Coming up next, Villanova-Rutgers. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Good night from Charlottesville. Now we send you to Rutgers.